Good evening. Welcome to the next session of Keeping It Simple. It's been a wonderful journey over the last 10 weeks. A lot of people have been asking questions and a lot of amazing knowledge, amazing discussions. And hope Dhruv has many questions today. And he'll be joining us any moment. And whenever he joins, we will start the session. So there he is. Dhruv is expected any moment now. Okay. So Dhruv is here. I'm just giving him permission to join. And any second, Dhruv will be here. So there he is. So Dhruv, the volume is okay today, or?
Yes, I can hear you.
You can hear me perfect. Okay. So good. So shall we start, or you would like to have some starting comments?
No way, we can start.
Okay, good.
Okay. So the first question is it the time that makes us tamasic or rajasic, or is it our karma?
Both. So sometimes it is there in time also, and sometimes our actions also. So both have a role.
Right. Here the next question I'm going to take from the audience is, what is grace?
Sorry, what is?
Grace.
Grace. What is grace? See, grace is when you think that, not think, we all know that sometimes we make efforts and things happen much beyond our expectations. And when we start recognizing that, every time we do something, there is something else which is making things happen. We know it is our effort, but there is something more which is giving us the result. So when we start realizing that, that is grace. And when you start seeing that grace, you start feeling gratitude in life. You know that you are not capable to have all those things, and yet you are receiving all those things, isn't it? And when that gratitude comes, then that grace increases more and more. So somewhere that inner being knows that, I'm not capable of doing this. By myself, maybe, I would have achieved only 20% or 30%. But this is much beyond my capacity which is happening, and it is happening on a continuous basis. That is the recognition of grace. Okay.
The next question. When we do with purity of heart and sincerity in our action, we know we have 100% not happy with our result. Emotional thoughts are overflowing. How to overcome the situation?
See, when we have given 100%, then no matter what the result is, we will be very happy. We have seen, we were also small children sometime or the other, and we have run races. Okay, and suppose we ran our best. We know that we couldn't have run any faster than that, and yet we came last. What is the thought we will have? I did my best. I couldn't have done anything better. So there will be no regrets. There will be no, sadness because we have not achieved what we wanted to achieve. Why? Because we know this was the most I could have done. And when we know we have given our best, then all those things don't happen. And if you're feeling little regret, and if you're feeling, oh, I've not got the desired results, then somewhere, knowingly or unknowingly, you have not given your best. That feeling will be there. That regret will be there. My results could have been better. Everything could have been better. Okay. So when the moment 100% comes into the play, all regrets, all sadness, frustration, anger, they just drop. So that is a thumb rule to recognize whether we have given 100% or not. And if we have been too much focused on our result, I want this result, I want this result. So the thoughts have been directed towards the result. It was not in the process. Okay. So that itself is not making you give best, your 100%. Okay.
Yeah, there's a connect. I think you have, why should we not result oriented in life?
No, be result oriented. See, results are important. Results are the driving force. But once you know what your goal is, let that goal not bother your mind again and again. Suppose you want to go from here to New York. Constantly you can't say, I want to go to New York, I want to go to New York, I want to go to New York. You decide the time where you want to be in New York, and you buy the tickets, whichever modes of transport, and whether it is going to reach you in that time that you see, and then work towards it. Constantly thinking, I want to go to New York is not going to take you to New York faster. And then from here to New York, whichever journey you take, enjoy that journey, give your 100% whatever needs to be done at that moment of time, at that place. Okay. So when you give 100%, no matter what the outcome is, suppose you're late, your flight is late, or you reach 2-3 days later also, if you're going by ship or whatever, you will still be very relaxed. Okay, this is what I could have done, isn't it? So have your goal, but don't be feverish about it. That is what it is. Otherwise, goal without having a goal, there is no direction to life. Let things happen, whatever happen, whatever happen. No, no, no. Goals are necessary, but knowing that that it is just an indicator. I want to be here. Now let me work towards it and put my energies and thought process in working towards the goal rather than what the goal is going to be. Okay.
Bhaiya, the next question is, I'm doing my sadhana regularly since a year, but since some days my husband and some friends are saying you're getting more active, you should be very calm because you're doing meditation. This all makes me think, am I wrong somewhere or what is it?
See, nobody has a right to judge you. Okay, you know you have changed over the last 1 year. You have become much calmer, and it is a process. It's not that you do meditation and that first day itself you become calm. If you want to make an ice cream, that ice cream doesn't happen in a matter of seconds. You know, it's a process. The cooling process starts, and over a period of time, it happens. And the mind is very tricky. You can't, calm down the mind by saying it is calm. There are so many impressions which have to be cleared. So many things have to happen, and to sustain that, now doing Sudarshan Kriya meditation, we are able to maintain that calmness for 20 minutes, say 1 hour, say. So that sustaining that state of mind requires some practice, and that practice will also happen. Okay, so the process is already started. A child has never learned walking in 1 day. It walked and it fell, and it walked and it fell. And even anger is a tool which has been given to all of us, isn't it? If you are not angry, a lot of people will take advantage of us. So once in a while, little anger, people are alert. They don't take advantage of us. Yeah, anger might have many negatives also. I'm not saying that there are no negatives, but there are some positives also. And that is what we say, opposite values are complementary. These are all tools. We need to learn how to use them. Okay, rather than saying we should not be angry at all, we should not be worried at all. If we can give direction to that anger, if we can give direction to that worry, anxiety, fear, it can make us a better human being. And as human beings, we will have all these feelings and emotions coming up. Life will become very dry without any of these feelings and emotions. But can we give direction to that? And that process of giving direction is meditation. When we meditate, then those emotions get a direction, and then these are energies. So we can get many things out of these energies. Anger is an energy. If you can direct it well, you can gain vastly from your anger. So it's not that you should not be angry, but you should learn to give direction to your anger or anything else.
The next question is there an end to soul or Shakti beings? Why does
Sorry, I did not hear you, Dhruv.
Question is there an end to a soul slash subtle beings or subtle body? What does this or why does this happen?
I didn't understand the questions. Is there an end to souls in what way? Are the souls of,
Subtle body, I think they're
yeah,
asking.
subtle body, as long as you are there, the subtle body is going to be there. Some subtle body, it's going to be there. And one thing what Gurudev said was the number of souls, the number of particles of sand on a beach you can count, but you cannot count the number of souls. So those many number of souls are there. So it's a huge, 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 humongous number we are talking about. Okay. So all these things are there, subtle bodies are there, and in a wave, in an ocean, the waves arise and they reach the shore and they subside, and new waves come, and sometimes the old waves also go back. So all this process is there. Sometimes waves merge, sometimes they bifurcate. So all that process is happening. So it is a very subtle thing. Mm, It's a very beautiful thing. This is again what Gurudev has said some time back. So if he has said, then that is what it should be. Okay.
The next question is, with what attitude shall we serve?
With what attitude you just serve, whether my attitude is right or wrong, service will make all the attitude correct. When you start serving, when you start helping people out, whatever impurities are there in your attitude, they will all become all right. So don't think my attitude will become all right and then I will serve. No. When I get the technique to swim and then I will swim, no, it's not going to happen. When you get into the water, the technique will become fine-tuned, more and more fine-tuned, more and more effortless. It's the same thing. When you jump into service, then whatever impurities, whatever wrong, whatever so-called not good attitude will also correct itself. That is why we should be doing service. Okay. Purity before service is not possible. Service brings that purity.
Next question is, there are different desires in me. All are not aligned, but my heart and intellect want something else. How do I proceed in life?
Yeah, different people have different formulas to decide what they want to do. But for me, I only do those things where my heart and brain, head say the same thing. So till that time, I just wait till the time that solution comes. And there is no deadline, with life, there is no deadline. It's not that we have to act all the time. So I take my time where my head also is on the same track and my heart is on the same track. Then there is no conflict, no. So I wait, and sometimes even if it is 5%, 10% divergence, I start. That fine tuning will anyway happen with time, isn't it? Not everything. So sometimes do what your head does, and slowly your heart will also come there. And sometimes do what your heart says, and eventually your head will also come. Now, if you love music, you start playing music. It is a matter of heart. But after when the heart is there, slowly the head also comes there. Then you start understanding notes, and you start experiencing it, and you start writing music and things like that. So then the head follows. So that is why I said, different people decide differently, and you also have a choice to decide how you would like to take it forward. Okay.
And there's a question that says, when mind is unstable, only time is on which we can rely on, or there is something more we can do.
The mind is unstable only. It is supposed to be unstable. It will go into the past, future, all those things. Thoughts will come, everything will come. So only, it's like a cow. A cow has to move. But, so what does the cowherd do so that the cow is not lost? It ties it to a pole. So it has got freedom to roam around that. And our meditation, our sadhana, or having a guru in life is tying ourselves to a pole so that we are not lost, isn't it? So mind is unstable. That stability of mind, your guru, God, your faith, your meditation, your sadhana, that gives that stability to a little bit. so that the mind is also moving. It needs to move. Only when you have thoughts, then you can act, and only when you act, then a lot of things can happen in your life. So source of everything is thoughts, and thoughts will be of all types. That is what is making the mind unstable in the first place. And you can't say certain thoughts should not come. All types of thoughts come. In that, if you are grounded or connected to some technique or guru, then you're not, the river is flowing, but you're holding on to a rock or a chain at the edge of the river so that you don't get carried away.
I'll take another question from the audience. If God resides in us, then why do we need to praise God?
That God loves praise, no? You also love praise. Would you want people criticizing you all the time? You're good for nothing. You're useless. You have no brains. You have no direction in life. Or would you like people to tell wonderful things about you? What an amazing smile you have, and what a beautiful heart you want. That is what it is. No, that praise which is there, which you are seeking, that God within you is only seeking that praise. And everyone wants praise, no? So that is how life has been designed. That is what Gurudev has also said. Devta stuti priya hai. Stuti priya means they love praise. Okay, so that is what nature is.
How will I get to know what is my life goal or the reason for being on earth?
Yeah, Gurudev says the person who knows the answer will never tell you. The person who tells you does not know. So till that time, whatever you think is your purpose, you keep on doing. If it is not right, it will go away. Something else will come. Something which will give you that complete joy and complete will make you completely at ease. And that something is it in the situations, is it in people, is it in my mind, is it in my body? Search all these places and discard, and then what remains is one place where everything is. And if you can connect to that, then it doesn't matter what you do outside. Outside is just an expression of whatever is inside, isn't it? So Gurudev says, no, negate what is not, what is not, what is not. Or where is it not, where is it not, where is it not. So once you start negating, then the place possibly where it can be becomes more prominent. Okay, and meditation, Sudarshan Kriya, listening to knowledge, listening to Gurudev, all that helps.
Next question is, how to be passionate at the same time, or one after the other?
Yeah, it's like driving a car. Your gas pedal or accelerator is passion, and your brake is a dispassion. Is dispassion. So sometimes you apply this, and sometimes you apply that. So when life is moving too fast, and you're not able to hold on to the events of life, then you break down, come into dispassion. And when everything is slow, the road is clear, then you put on the gas pedal, you move fast, isn't it? Now it happens automatically. You don't have to do anything. If you know driving, then you know how to drive your life also. If there is a traffic jam, then you slow down, brake. If there is no traffic, then you go a little faster, provided you follow the speed limits and whatever, isn't it? So it's like driving only. So last question, Dhruv.
Sure. And last question is, when I slip into raga or dvesha, I realize it and feel guilty. Then coming out of both the raga, dvesha and the guilt becomes difficult. What to do in such a case?
It's okay, no, all these rag dvesh comes, don't have rag dvesh for rag dvesh. That is what we can control. I should not be getting into rag dvesh, I should be free and all that. That is rag dvesh for rag dvesh, isn't it? So at least drop that. Okay, it happened, it's okay. So that is what Krishna told us, no? What you can do. What the divine has to do, it will take care of that. So at least not be bothered about what is this. Oh, I got stuck here. I got stuck there. The moment you come, and that is what, you come into the present moment, you're already free. When you drop the guilt, you're already free. It happened. It's finished. I don't feel good about it also, and I don't feel bad about it also. I don't feel bad about my mistakes. It's freedom from dvesh. And I don't feel good about whatever wonderful things I have done. It's freedom from raga. It's gone. Present moment is, life is here now. Whatever I'm feeling good or bad about it, it's all gone, finished. Like being stuck in rag dvesha means what? You're driving a car looking into the rear view mirror. You can't drive your car with that. I did this, I did that. Oh, I made a mistake. I did a wonderful thing. People should respect me. People should not respect me. I'm good for nothing. All this is rag dvesh only. No, I'm able to do this. I'm not able to do this. I got stuck in rag dvesh. What does it make a difference? It's gone. It's finished. Isn't it? So feel free. Whatever is right and wrong, if you get stuck into that I should be free from rag, let life be the way it is. I made a mistake, so what? Something went good, so what? I am not the doer. I have not done any of these things. That is what grace is. Again, we started with grace and we are ending with grace. That the divine made me do all those things. Finish. It was not me. The wrong also I did not do, and the right also I did not do. The bad also I did not do, and the good also I did not do. So that which made me do all those things is grace. Okay. So good, wonderful ending point. Automatically it happened. We started with grace and we are ending with grace. So any ending comments, Dhruv?
No, we have great people. Thank you for everyone for sending questions. They keep sending. That's totally fine. I enjoy keep collecting questions within the week, and then we can do it, file it on Monday, and we ask these questions.
So it has been wonderful having these sessions. Today is our 11th episode. 11th, no, Dhruv? Yeah, so it has been our 11th episode. 10 weeks we have completed of the program, and it is all because of the support and interest you have shown. Continue showering your support, and keep on showing interest, and keep on sharing this wonderful interactions with others. Who knows, it might help a life who needs this knowledge. So till next week, have a good time, enjoy yourself, and hope to see you soon again. Jai Gurudev and good night.